When you speak about revolution, people think you want to carry guns. No, you can have revolution of the mind. You can have revolution of how you think. And we need to have very strong revolution to change Nigeria, assuming that we truly want to change Nigeria, because it depends on us if we change Nigeria or we don't change Nigeria. But I want to say here, without fear or favor, that as long as we have the present personalities that we have in our different states, in politics, all the way up to the federal government, that even this 1999 Constitution, from what I've heard here even, that we're going to find it difficult, if not impossible, to change the 1999 Constitution. Therefore, as I round up, I am convinced that if we're not able to change the 1999 Constitution to the People's Constitution, irrespective of how we have come about this 1999 Constitution that is so clearly against the country called Nigeria and the people, the suffering people of Nigerians, then Nigeria truly should be able to stand up and begin to look forward to how we're going to go about the plan B of Nigerians and Nigeria.
The first point to note is that we never signed any agreement or treaty with the British Crown to surrender our sovereignty. So we're forced into what we call Nigeria. That is number one fraud. Moving forward, our sources of livelihood have been taken over by various enactments. The Land Use Decree, the Petroleum Industry Act, and several others. My sister talked about lack of resource control, resource management, etc. As we speak, the John Nation is on the path of self-determination. We pray the peaceful process we have started is made possible. If not, a revolution will become inevitable. As several fora, we have mentioned the primary conditions that will make Ijaw people to be committed to the Nigerian nation. Before Buhari, I led the Ijaw people, and several, when even the British visited us at the Ijaw House, we told them in the first place they brought us to this rubbish, and they have a responsibility of pulling us out. Then secondly, as we move on, we still believe that Nigeria we can have a reset of Nigeria if we are ready to do the appropriate things. First and foremost, why not go back to the pre-independence Act on derivation? Before oil and gas became the commanding height of Nigerian economy, it was at least 50%. When we had oil and gas, because it's from a minority area, we're giving partly 1%, later 1.3%, and today we have 13%. 20% translate to 87% deprivation. We face all kinds of environmental hazards. And when we cried, they insulted us with 3% PIA for host communities. Somebody said Obasanjo is, the present government is a Democrat. As far as we are concerned, it's not a Democrat. Tinubu is not a Democrat. You cannot practice, go and tell him that the job people say that he's not a Democrat. Because you cannot practice democracy and fail to adhere to the basic principle of democracy. The same constitution that guides everybody. You are imposing a state of emergency in a state to satisfy the inordinate ambition of some persons who want to capture resources and power of a state. We distate that, and we don't want to hear anybody talk about Tinubu being a Democrat. Finally, by way of contributing to the debate, we think that if we must move on, let us go back to the regional system.
And even the second.
We are proposing 10 regions.
You want to now kick me out of it?
10 regions. That's our proposal. And when we have regions, the issues of state creation, local government creation, and etc., will be over. In your own region, you have as many number of states you want to have. If you want to have 10, have 10. If you want to have 10 states, have 10 states. If you want to have 20 or 200 local government areas, have it, because the sharing will be on the region. And that will solve the issue of having 12 states today, because the more you agitate for state creation and create more states, you create more imbalances and injustice. To resolve that problem is all that. Then secondly, we must own our resources. Resource control is not new. It is not new. When groundnuts, cocoa, palm oil were the commanding out of our district, it was 50%. Why are you doing it to us? Because it is oil. The 13% derivation is an insult. If we have all of this put in place, we can now have a fair Nigeria. We produce what sustains this country, but we are most badly treated. And that is why nothing can be well with this country. When you maltreat the person that feeds your nation, if you maltreat your mother that feeds you, what happens to you? So when we are considering all of this, we should also look at the spiritual dimension to it. We are the mothers of this nation, but we have decided to deprive us. And that is why whatever we do, including what we are doing now, will not work until we give honor to motherhood.
Eminent leaders of conscience, representatives of geopolitical zones, members of the press, and fellow Nigerians. Let me begin by commending the patriots for their vision, their courage, and their unwavering commitment to convening this historic summit. In a nation burdened by silence, convening a dialogue of this magnitude, though not for the first time, or not the first of its kind, is an act of bold patriotism. As the son of the South-South, and as one who has carried the burden of this nation's dream across many decades, I stand before you not just to offer goodwill, but to lend voice to the truth that has often been expressed and can no longer be deferred. This summit is not another routine conference. It is a defining moment. Perhaps it is the last peaceful opportunity we have to confront the fundamental contradiction of Nigeria, that we are governed not by the will of the people, but by a constitution that robs us of our sovereignty. Let us speak frankly to the state of our union, which is fractured but not beyond repair. Our federation is in distress. Our democracy is in disrepute, and our people, the very source of power in a true republic, have become totally disenfranchised and therefore disillusioned and detached and alienated. We from the South-South region join other zones across the country who have agreed that this union is not working as it is. It can only be sustained if it is restructured on the basis of equity, justice, and mutual consent. Now, the patriots have called us for us to examine certain things: the legitimacy of the 1999 Constitution, the viability of our current political system, the path towards restoring true sovereignty to the Nigerian people. This agenda, therefore, is not only the right one, but it is in fact the only one that matters now. We endorse it in its entirety because the truth is this: the 1999 Constitution was not the people's constitution. It was a military decree imposed without the consent of the people. The military suspended the 1963 Constitution, which remains the last legal expression of our people's collective will and agreed terms of condition for staying together. That Constitution, I'd like to emphasize, was suspended. It was never repealed, proscribed, or abrogated. At the end, rather than lift the suspension and restore a legitimate constitution, it was instead replaced with a fraudulent document that begins with a lie that says, "We the people." This document was not even submitted to the National Assembly for adoption or ratification before it was put into use. The people of Nigeria were not consulted, we did not consent, it was foisted on us, and our sovereignty was therefore stolen. Now, let us look at why our present political system cannot work. We are running a democracy where election results are determined not by the ballot, but by various other undemocratic means. Representatives and leaders are selected by a few and imposed. They are not elected. Power flows from the party barons and not from the people. Public service is privatized for profit, to individual profit, and not for national purpose. This is not democracy. This elite authoritarianism with scant democratic decoration on it. And the people know it. That is why voters turnout declines, as we saw in the last election in Lagos. That is why trust in the government is dead. This has been exacerbated by the departure from a functional federal system to an imperial presidential unitary system, which we practice at the moment. Unless we act now, we reverse this situation, the country is bound to go into fragmentation. So we, in consultation with other leaders and the compatriots, a group that I lead, believe the following must be addressed in the new constitution. Sovereignty must return to the people. We must get rid of this unitary system and reinstate the federal system of governance that our founding fathers had agreed to. True federalism must guarantee maximum autonomy to the federating units. Cost of politics must be brought down to open space for inclusiveness and real leadership. Unicameral legislature with ministers appointed only from elected representatives must be reinstated. Real mechanisms for accountability, recall, and sanction for non-performing and deviant public officers must also be instituted. Impunity must end, transparency must begin. Elections must be driven by ideas and integrity, not by money. And finally, party leadership must grow from within the party. For this summit to be considered a success, the critical questions that are to be answered are Is the relationship between the nations that form Nigeria working? If not, why? And what new terms can be made to make it work? Is the Constitution helping to unite, coexist for people to coexist peacefully and prosper? If not, why? And what can we do to make it work? Is our political system inclusive? Is it delivering accountable governance and promoting national progress? If not, why? And what political system will? If we cannot honestly face these questions and live here with a clear strategy, timeline, and commitment to change, then this summit, with all its good intentions, would not have been as big a success as it ought to have been. This is the right meeting, but what are our chances of success? That will depend on just one thing. Will we confront the hijacking of our sovereignty and do every legitimate thing and legal thing to fix it? If we live here with a clear, actionable roadmap to 1, restore sovereignty to the people, 2, enact a truly people-driven constitution, and 3, reform our political system to reflect our realities, then this meeting will go down in history as the turning point for Nigeria. But if we live with nothing but speeches, handshakes, and photo ops, the tragedy of Nigeria will continue and we will share in the blame. Let us therefore resolve to reclaim Nigeria together. We must not be afraid to change. What we must rather be afraid of is not to change. Nigeria's unity will only be preserved through fairness and justice, not force or fear. And if we miss this opportunity, the next chapter may be one of irreversible fragmentation. I believe, and I know that many of you also believe, that time is running out. Let this summit be a strident call for a new beginning. Let the patriots be remembered as the spark that reignited the flame of sovereignty. Let Nigeria be reborn, not just as a country, but as a true nation.
Basically, from the South zone, or the Niger Delta, I am the first and only, and of course, from a minority ethnic group. So, the kind of politics our forefathers played from the 50s, I cannot say from 1914 when Nigeria was amalgamated, because the books you read don't give you a clear perspective of how Nigeria was amalgamated. It was done by the British people. The key actors from Nigeria that participated in that amalgamation, you'd hardly hear what they say. But the key political actors, people like Nnamdi Azikiwe, people like Obafemi Awolowo, people like the Sultan of Sokoto, and so on, all these people were less than 10 years old at the time of amalgamation. They didn't play any role. But in the 50s, when we were marching towards independence, that was when this book came to play a key role that led to the independence in 1960. Political parties were formed during in the late 50s, leading to the independence. And the kind of politics our forefathers played back then is still the politics we play today. We play tribal and regional politics. And it is quite unfortunate if you compare Nigeria to other African countries. You will see that you find it difficult to say that this was a national leader in Nigeria that attempted to bring the country together. I said, for young people, we should know that this issue of tribe and religion, these are the major setbacks for this country. This makes people it's create problems for leadership recruitment. If somebody is holding a political office and he wants to give appointments, you begin to see that even if Mrs. A knows the issue better than Mrs. B, and if Mrs. B is from his own tribe, you want to use Mrs. B. It's like saying, oh, you have a fight that you need a lion to fight, but that lion is not from your tribe. Then you say the cats. Then you say, after all, both of them are carnivorous animals. They can attack it. And you bring a cat to do the job of a lion. It's not possible. The cat, yes, is a carnivorous animal. Yes, that can attack it. But the cat cannot do the job of a lion or a tiger or a leopard. So, but that is what happens in a system where people tend towards their tribe. And that's one of the banes of Nigerian politics. The leadership recruitment process is skewed along tribal interests, along religious interests. So you see how difficult it is to get the best. If people are contesting election, even as a president of a country or as a governor in the various states, I don't want to mention states. There are some states that if you come from some part of the state, you can never be the governor of the state, even if you are the best material at the time. In Nigeria, if you want to contest election, they first know, is it our turn? Is it their turn? Is it the turn of the Muslims? Is it the turn of the Christians? So this great problem to recruit the best material, because you are not assessing the person you want to recruit to the leadership position based on competence. You assess the person based on how he worships God, or from the part of the map of the country the person comes from.
They can't even control.
So these are the issues. So, but the key thing is, if the younger people can begin to gradually downplay the issue of region and religion in the politics of Nigeria, the leadership recruitment process will improve. We'll begin to recruit people better. When I was contesting 2015 because of this religious divide between me and Buhari, I used to tell people that, look, if you are sick, as let us say you have a kidney problem and you go to the hospital, you ask for the best doctor. Yes. You will not ask whether that doctor is from Enugu or from Kano or from Ibadan, if it is in Nigeria, but you ask. If they say this is the best doctor you are comfortable with. So when you're hungry, you don't care where the person who's serving the food is from Meduguri or from Yinagwa. You eat the food. That is normal human. But whenever it comes to a leadership recruitment process through the political recruitment programs of election and so on and so forth, our wisdom is masked by these sentiments of region and religion. But Nigeria today, we are divided along tribal lines, we are divided along religious lines, and it worries me. And if we don't make any changes, which is difficult to make, it may continue even to your grandchildren, because we started wrongly, and there's no real effort to make sure we change. And it's a major problem, and most of our problems we're having today in the country is because of this division.
The main thrust of the draft bill seeks to revert Nigeria to the 1963 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The 1963 Constitution was the first and last constitution duly negotiated by Nigerians, ethnic nationalities, and passed into law by a democratically elected parliament in 1963. It therefore passed the litmus test of having been made by we the people via universal human suffrage. All constitutions following that one were handed down to us by undemocratic military governments.
The 1963 Constitution is important because it has a clause that takes care of transition. Initially, transition from ethnic nationalities governing statecraft to colonial democracy between 1900 and 30 September 1963. Then it never envisaged the military coming into the equation. But since they came in, we had two clear opportunities for the military to really transit back to republican democracy, first in 1993. But that was missed, or it was messed up. These are simple composite administrative units without any full devolution of power, resource control, and the basic tenets of the federalism as it obtains anywhere in the world.
Good day to our viewers all over the world, and welcome back to Look at Junu. We've heard the patriots speaking about the situation of the country today, and we know that it called for serious and sober reflection over what is happening in the country, because in Nigeria today is not the Nigeria of our dream. This is not the Nigeria everybody thought was going to come. This is not the Nigeria everybody was looking forward to see. In Nigeria we are saying today is a divided Nigeria, a Nigeria that has no bearing, in Nigeria that has no forward thinker. The country is divided across so many lines because of the problem, the fundamental problem that will shied away from dealing with all this while. We know that we have a fundamental problem right from the time this country, Nigeria, was created. And if this problem is not addressed, there is no way we can forge ahead. There is no way we can make this country a great one. There is no way we can unite together and fight for the greatness of this country, because we feel we are not united, and it seems we are not united in anything whatsoever. And that is the major problem we are facing today. And the Patriots now are coming out to provide solutions to this problem. If we don't sit on a round table to discuss this problem, to look at how we can tackle this problem, to look at how we can solve this problem, to look at how we can forge ahead as a nation to find a lasting solution to this problem, then I'm sorry, we will not have a nation anytime soon. So the thing is this: the Patriots are calling for regional government or a restructural system or nation that will give every region the control of their resources. It's not a system that we are practicing currently, that the people who own the resources are still scampering for a way to even earn from their resources. They don't even have access to their resources at all, because the people who are at the top, who feels that they are the one at the helm of the affair, they are the one holding everybody to ransom, they are the one who are enjoying the sweat of the whole masses, they are the one who are looting the resources of Nigerians. And as a result of this, only a few people are the one holding this country to ransom. Only a few people are the one milking the wealth of resources that belongs to everybody in this country. We've been talking about regional government for so long, but it seems like the government are not interested in this, because they don't want to cede power to anybody at all. The ones at the helm of the affair are selfish. They don't want to lose their position for anything whatsoever. They don't have the country or the interests of Nigeria at heart, and that's the reason why they are doing everything they are doing. The Patriots have been providing solutions to salvage, to cure the fundamental problem, the rudimental problems you are having. But these politicians have always paid deaf ears to it. And as we've listened in the video, that if nothing is done about this, a time shall come when revolution will be the only solution, when revolution will be the only alternative. Even as it stands currently, every region are crying out and saying that they want out of this Nigeria because they are being marginalized, and they don't like the situation of the country because of what they are facing in the country that they never even signed any part to be part of. How do you explain a situation where people who ordinarily are not from a particular region are the ones benefiting from the wealth of resources in that region? Does it make any sense? It doesn't at all. And this is the reason why we need this regional government. However, we know that the power that be are doing everything within their power to stop this, because they know it's going to be against them. It's going to be to their disadvantage. And this is the reason why they don't want us to go back to regional government, because as it stands, regional government is the one in the best interest of every region in this country. We've been crying out loud for the government to sit down and sit its ass down and do what they are supposed to do for the betterment of the masses in this country. But nobody is listening to the masses now. But I believe a time shall come that the masses will start taking laws into their hands. And if that time comes, probably maybe it's going to be too late for the government to take hold or salvage the situation. They need to act now before it's too late. If I were Tinubu or at the seat of power now, I'll listen to everything the Patriots are saying now, because everything they've stated means well for the interest of Nigeria, and it's the only thing we need to take this country, to catapult this country to the very top that we want this country to be. Kindly drop what you have to say in the comment section, and if today is your first time to visit our channel, please kindly like, share and subscribe to our channel.